Today at Inspired to Taste, we're transforming dark cocoa, toasted hazelnuts, and a few understated ingredients into something unexpected. Whimsical winged cookies with 3D details and chocolate hazelnut centers. This right here is the feeling I kept returning to. Evening in the forest where everything slows down and the air turns quiet. These are the details that helped shape the flavors and forms to come. Rich with cocoa and toasted hazelnuts, these cookies are soft at the center with edges precise enough for even the most intricate shapes. Think grown-up Oreos if they happened to wander into the forest at dusk and came back just a little more sophisticated. We'll start by toasting 50 grams of hazelnut flour in a dry skillet over medium-low heat. Just spread a thin layer and stir gently for 3 to 6 minutes. We're looking for a warm, nutty smell and golden color. This quick step adds a deeper, cozier hazelnut flavor. In a medium bowl, add 300 grams of pastry flour, 40 grams of unsweetened cocoa powder, I'm using Dutch processed, the toasted hazelnut flour, and 2 grams of fine sea salt. Whisk this until well combined and then set it aside. Then, in the bowl of a stand mixer, add 120 grams of powdered sugar and 220 grams of cold, cubed, unsalted butter. Using the paddle attachment, mix on medium-low speed for a few minutes until creamy, but don't whip. The goal here is for a smooth and cohesive texture, but not fluffy. You should see soft ridges and no air pockets. Add 4 grams of vanilla bean paste and mix again. Make sure to scrape down the sides of your bowl in between. Then add 1 egg and mix until combined. So at this point, don't be alarmed if it looks a little curdled or broken, like this. That's completely normal. The cold butter and the liquid egg won't blend perfectly right away, but once the dry ingredients go in, they pull everything together into a beautiful texture. So let's go ahead and add the dry mix and blend on low until it's just combined. We don't want to overmix at this stage. The dough will come together into a soft ball and then you're done. Then we'll press it into a flat disc, wrap it well in plastic wrap, and chill in the refrigerator for at least 1 hour, but preferably overnight. To make the cookies, start by preheating your oven to 320 degrees Fahrenheit. Roll the chilled dough between 2 sheets of parchment until it's about 1/8 inch thick. Then chill it again until firm. This will make cutting easier and cleaner. I'm using my custom moth cookie cutter along with a small wing cutout for the top cookies. If you're recreating this exact design as sandwich cookies, make sure to cut an even number of bottoms and tops so they all match up. This dough tends to soften really quickly as it warms up. So if it starts getting particularly sticky or hard to handle, just pop it back in the freezer for about 10 minutes before continuing. Once all the shapes are cut, make sure to freeze the dough again for about 10 to 15 minutes before baking. This will help the cookies hold their shape better in the oven. Bake them for about 13 to 15 minutes. They'll be done when the edges feel firm to the touch and the centers have lost their shine. For an extra smooth finish, I like to gently press the tops with a fondant smoother while they're still warm, making sure they're nice and flat. And that's it for the cookies. Let's move on to the filling. Dark chocolate and toasted hazelnuts blend into something richer than ganache and firmer than nut butter. It sets with a fudgy bite, melts in your mouth like a dream, and carries just enough hazelnut texture to feel like it wandered in from the forest. We'll start by making hazelnut paste. spread 150 grams of whole hazelnuts onto a baking sheet and toast for 12 to 15 minutes at 320 degrees Fahrenheit, shaking them occasionally. They're ready when they're golden brown and smell rich and nutty. While still warm, transfer the hazelnuts to a high-speed blender or small food processor. Blend in pulses, scraping down the sides often. You'll see them go from crumbs to clumps to smooth, pourable paste. This should take about 5 to 10 minutes. I like to stop before the mixture turns silky smooth so it keeps a bit of the nutty texture, something that nods to the woodland mood behind this design. Then we can set this aside for a minute. Next, I'm going to chop 200 grams of dark couverture chocolate into small pieces. I'm using Valrhona 70%. Transfer this to a heat-proof bowl and add 25 grams of chopped up cocoa butter. Gently melt this over a bain-marie, stirring until it's smooth. Remove from the heat and stir in 20 grams of invert sugar, or you can use honey if that's what you have on hand. Add your hazelnut paste and mix until fully blended. Then stir in 25 grams of unsalted butter. I'm using browned butter for extra depth, plus 2.5 grams of fine sea salt. I'm using black lava sea salt here. Stir until it's completely smooth, then blend with an immersion blender for a silky, emulsified finish. Cover with plastic wrap touching the surface and let it cool to room temperature. This ganache sets slowly because of the nut and butter content. Plan on at least 4 to 5 hours. I usually like to let it rest overnight, then remix it and gently warm it to pipeable consistency if needed. And now it's time to put this all together. This design lives somewhere between craving and concept. Midnight cocoa, gilded wings, and embroidery-like patterns. We'll finish each of these twilight moth cookies with delicate icing and just enough texture to echo the woodland inspiration. This design is almost entirely just outlines and filigree created with piping consistency royal icing. I thought it would be quick and easy because it's just simple line work. Yeah, not quite. It definitely took longer than expected, but it's totally worth the effort. Once painted, the contrast these patterns add is absolutely enchanting. I like to use chocolate or brown tinted royal icing as my base when I'm planning to paint gold on top. That way, if I miss a spot, it either blends into the cookie or creates a warm, aged metal effect. Next, I'm filling in the head and body with more chocolate royal icing. I want them to look soft and puffy, but these don't have to be perfect, since I'll be adding texture on top. For the gold details, I'm using Bakel's Super Gold Luster Dust. It's 100% edible and gives a beautiful metallic finish. Mix a little vodka into the dry luster dust until it's a paintable texture. Then use a small brush to gild all the line work. And just look at the difference the gold makes. Now let's add some fuzzy texture. I'm going to combine a couple different ingredients for the effect I'm after, starting with cookie crumbs. I saved the wing cutouts, baked them until crisp, and am now just pulsing them in my little food processor until fine and crumbly. But this color on its own will blend in too much with the cookie base of the wings. So next I'm going to mix in a couple spoonfuls of desiccated coconut. You can also toast the coconut for more depth of flavor. I'm using a thin layer of royal icing as glue, gently dunking it into the crumb and coconut mixture, then carefully brushing off any stray bits. For the filling, I'm going to pipe it with a French star tip because it'll add a really pretty additional texture showing through the wing cutouts. Don't pipe the filling all the way to the edges because it will spread just a bit when adding the top cookie. Gently secure the top cookie to the filling, and they're good to go. Let's take a look at the final set and then dig in.
Here we go in 3, 2, 1.